My wife cheated on me with my brother and made me raise his child for 4 years. This is going to be wild. Welcome, sorry what listeners. Hi, I'm writing this to clear my mind. There's just a lot of stuff going on in my life that is eating away at my mental peace. I have been married to my wife Nova for the last 3 years. We dated for 2 years before we got married, so I have known her for 5 years. Yet, I sometimes feel like I'm staying with a stranger. I met Nova at a Thanksgiving dinner at my aunt's place. Her family was my aunt's neighbor and she was visiting her parents for the holidays. That's how we met. My parents fell in love with her way before I did. It was not only her striking features, but also her warm and compassionate personality that made her stand out. My parents were nagging me to get married, and when they saw her, they insisted that I talk to her. I spoke to her briefly and learned that she was staying a few miles from my office. Nonetheless, I couldn't take my eyes off her and mustered the courage to ask for her number while leaving. I asked her out for coffee. I was absolutely blown away by her charm and couldn't resist meeting her further. She was a year older than me, but way more mature than I was. I soon shifted to a place nearer to her. It was closer to my office too. However, the problem was that she was looking for a committed relationship while I was commitment phobic until then. Although I confessed my love to her, I didn't ensure any long-term relationship, a red flag for her. I know I used to be very calculative about my decisions. Back then, I was focusing on my career and walking into marriage seemed like an extra pressure. However, my parents insisted that I settle down because they saw Nova as a perfect partner. She indeed was. She brought the best out of me, made me a calm and compassionate person, and took me to church every Sunday, which was the most crucial factor of my family's love towards her. Besides, she was caring, visited my parents more often than I did, and checked up on them occasionally. We were almost completing 2 years when she gradually distanced herself from me. When I confronted her, she said she wanted me to commit or else she would break up with me. I kept dragging it until she told me she was seeing someone for marriage. I panicked. I contemplated my thoughts for the next 2 days, imagining my life with and without her. I realized I truly loved her and there were no logical reasons to let her go. I asked her for a meeting again, and this time I proposed to her without most conviction never to leave her. We got married within a month. The first few months of our marriage were absolute bliss. However, as time passed, life became routine. The honeymoon period doesn't last forever, does it? Nova soon left her job, citing her daunting hours. She joined an NGO that works with the church to educate people about Christianity. Working with an NGO is a free and noble service, I agree. I had no problem running the house solely on my income, but my problem was that she didn't involve me in her decision to shift the entire household burden on me. When I confronted her, she said it was not my business and that the decision to work should be solely hers. I tried to reason with her that although the decision of whether to work or not is definitely hers, it does affect both of us financially. Although her salary was almost 1/3 of mine, having 2 incomes in a family cushions your financial planning, doesn't it? She swiftly accused me of being self-centered and not wanting to support her financially. I didn't want to drag the matter, hence dropped my guns and moved on. This was our first major fight after our marriage, but let me tell you, it was just the start of a bumpy ride. Soon, she started complaining that I was always buried in work and not giving her enough time. I knew that was coming when she left her job. I mean, when you're at home all day and see your partner for a few hours, you definitely feel that he or she is not giving you enough time. I told her to actively dedicate more time to the NGO so that her mind could be occupied and she wouldn't miss me that much. Contrarily, I found her losing interest in the NGO as well. She was slowly turning into a different person. I've had multiple conversations, but she said she wanted to be that way. She told me that she wanted to lead a relaxed life for some time and reflect upon herself. To be honest, I don't understand leaving your job and reflecting upon yourself. This is a sheer misuse of luxury. If I had quit my job without informing her and said that I wanted to relax and reflect upon myself, I'm sure she would have left me at that very moment. However, I took a deep breath and gave her the needed time. I asked her to enroll in therapy if her mental peace was draining, but she declined, stating that she was fine and just needed some time to relax. She literally spent days doing nothing because the house used to be messed up with cutlery piling up in the sink and we ate fast food almost every day. If this was the scenario while she was working, I would have been fine. But as a partner, you need to take up some responsibility for the house, don't you? I won't lie that it didn't bother me, it did. When I asked her what was keeping her busy, she would say that she was visiting my parents most days because they also needed to be taken care of. What else could I say after this? I hate bringing a third person into my relationship, but after a few months when I could not bear it, I discussed this with my mom as Nova was close to her. To my surprise, I learned that she visited them every other day, but it was not them with whom Nova spent her time, it was with my brother Jack. He is 2 years younger than me and has always been a black sheep like my parents, who were university professors. I've always been academically strong, in contrast, Jack struggled academically and was a school dropout. After lounging on my parents' money until his late 20s, he moved out to become a DJ. However, he soon got immersed in knee-deep debts and moved back into our parents' house several months ago. I don't know how to react to the information that my wife spent so much time with my younger brother. Neither did I know how to confront this. My mom was also in a similar dilemma about whether or not to confront Nova or Jack and how to do it. A few days later, I asked Nova about Jack. She acted normal and replied, "Yeah, he's been doing better. He needs mental support, he has been feeling lonely." I couldn't help but note her nonchalant response. I asked my mother if Jack was mentally depressed. She confirmed that after incurring huge debts and losing his job, he was indeed in depression. I ruled out foul play, thinking Nova was certainly helping Jack recover, she was always compassionate. However, their growing closeness became a concern for everyone eventually. Whenever I tried to express my concerns, she played the victim, saying that I and my family were cornering her for being a kind person. She contested, saying that she was just trying to help him out. Nova's fluctuating behavior kept me on my nerves. It was Jack's birthday last month, and Nova had planned a grand party. She had literally planned it for months. She onboarded my parents in her plans by saying that Jack would be happy seeing that his family loves and cares for him. It might help him overcome depression. On a side note, I visited Jack several times in the last few months, and they seemed normal. He was always clumsy and disoriented. I don't know why Nova was overhyping his mental state. A week before his birthday, I was searching for some gifts for Jack. Besides my work laptop, we have a common PC at home, and I use it for online shopping. While gift hunting, the shopping website showed me weird suggestions, such as male and female sex toy combos. Initially, I ignored it, but similar recommendations bothered me. As you would know, a shopping website works with an algorithm that displays a similar product that one researches online. I scoured the search history, and it blew my mind. There were hundreds of websites that Nova had accessed in the last month, which gave ideas about how to make a one-night stand spicy. And guess what? She had purchased a toy combo delivered a few days ago with the message "Wild Toys for the Wild Night." I was stunned. I couldn't hold my anger, and I shouted at the top of my voice, asking for an explanation. She immediately started crying after being caught. Upon being asked repeatedly, she said that it was for Jack. I asked her why she thought my brother needed such a gift from his sister-in-law. She said that they'd become more of a friend, and as a friend, she gifted him. I asked her what that message meant. She said that it meant nothing. I questioned why she thought that he needed a combo. She was silent for a while and kept crying. When I pestered her for an explanation, she said she had booked a stripper for him on his birthday night to relax his mood. I simply left the house with utmost disgust. I had lost all my energy, patience, and reason to speak to her. I went to a bar and sat alone for the next few hours. I called up my friend Danny and asked him to come over. He was there within an hour. I narrated the entire incident to get his perspective. Danny suggested that I keep an eye. He said that he didn't suspect Nova to betray me, but her actions were indeed suspicious. I told him that I didn't want to attend Jack's birthday celebration. Nova's closeness created hatred inside me for my brother, but he suggested that I attend the event and monitor their behavior closely. So, yes, I attended the Nova celebration. I was exceptionally excited about the celebration. My extended family and friends were quick to notice that, and some of them even remarked that they hadn't seen me that excited for my birthday or even for our anniversary. The way Nova smeared the cake in my brother's face caught everyone's attention. The remaining celebration was normal, except that Nova was over the moon throughout the evening. I'm not on talking terms with her since I found that gift thing. Despite multiple confrontations, she doesn't seem to understand my point of view, or probably I'm unable to understand hers. I don't know. I'm turning paranoid thinking about all this. The way she was behaving troubles me. I feel like I'm living with a stranger. Any advice on this situation is highly appreciated. It's interesting that you immediately thought the toys were Jack, although there wasn't that hard of evidence. What if she had purchased the items for you and to sort of spice up your relationship? Would you have reacted the same? I guess I'm wondering why having a relationship with your brother would be a bad thing if he's going through some stuff. Turning it to you now, what do you think? Would you have instantly thought the toys were someone else? Let us know below. Update 1. Hi all, thanks for all the advice. I was losing my mind when I wrote that first post. I took the advice and got myself a vacation that helped me clear my head. A few days after my post, I went to my parents' house after the office and found Nova sitting with my mom. It melted my heart and made me realize how kind and caring Nova actually was. Maybe I was overthinking all that while. We returned back together, and on the way back, I broke the ice and told her that we needed to acknowledge that we couldn't stay that way. We needed to fix it or part ways. To my surprise, she acknowledged the problem in our marriage instead of ignoring it. She added that she knew that her closeness with Jack was bothering me, but her intention was nothing but to help him come out of depression. She said that she too was facing depression when she left her job and hence understood his misery. She assured me to work on the relationship. Honestly, I felt so light after that conversation. I felt like I was speaking to the same Nova with whom I'd fallen in love initially. Nova suggested that we take a mini vacation to rejuvenate our married life. Indeed, that vacation helped us rebond. Soon after that, I learned that Jack had gotten a job in a different city and he'd moved out. I somehow felt relieved. Pathetic, I know. Our life was going smoothly for a month after our vacation when Nova got the most delightful news. We're pregnant. I'm beaming ear to ear as I write this. I can't wait to become a father and have a little soul calling me dad. I'm super excited about that. My family is equally happy with the news. My mother often used to say that because of my commitment issues, I'd never be able to have a stable relationship, and now she gives all the credit to Nova for bringing my life back on track. I admit that if it wasn't for her, I might not have been married until now, but see, I'm going to become a father now. I'm glad that I gave another chance to our marriage. Thanks all for the positive advice. Did you ever confront your brother about how you were feeling about the relationship he had with your wife, OP? Would you have confronted your sibling? Let us know in the comments below. Update 2. It's been 5 years since my last update. When I was writing that update, I never imagined having to update it again. Dang, I was so delusional. To conclude my happy ending, I'm linking the original post here for new readers. To summarize the story, I was concerned about my wife's growing closeness with my brother. She used to spend days with him and ultimately gifted him an adult toy for his birthday. Upon confrontation, she said she did so to help him cope with depression. Eventually, she realized that her closeness was ruining our marriage, so she agreed to work on our marriage. Things got better between us, and we got pregnant. Nova delivered a baby boy, and that child is 4 years old. I raised that child with selfless love, and guess what? That child is not even mine. Yes, he's not my child. Ever since I got the news of her pregnancy, I was overjoyed. I cared for her, did the household chores, took her for walks, and accompanied her to the doctor's appointments. When I first saw that boy, I knew it was all worth it. Our life was sailing smoothly until Jack returned to the city a few months ago. He got better opportunities in the city and moved back to be closer to family and friends. He shifted with his girlfriend of 2 years, Martina. He hasn't been in touch with any of us since he moved out. All of us were happy to see him doing well in his career and having a stable relationship. Nova had a problem with Martina. She said that she could see through that Martina leached on him for his money because she didn't have a job and had left her hometown to move in with him, so Nova found her suspicious. I couldn't wrap my head around her reasoning, so I brushed her off. Martina was warm and gentle, and I didn't find any reason to speak negatively about her. However, 7 hells fell on Nova when she got to know that Jack and Martina were getting married. She tried all means to fill my ears with hate for Martina, but I made it clear that it was none of my business to put my nose into my brother's choice of girls. She then started manipulating my mother against Martina, but no one gave a damn because Jack was happy with her. My mother told me Nova had been acting weird since Jack and Martina returned. She left no opportunity to belittle Martina. My mother thought that Martina was becoming insecure because until then, Nova had enjoyed all the privileges of being pampered by her in-laws. Her actions made us suspicious, but we were unsure of her motive, or maybe I knew it deep down, but chose to ignore it. Ultimately, she revealed the truth which shattered everything. A week before Jack's wedding, all 6 of us, my parents, Jack, Martina, Nova, and I, were having dinner together. Nova broke the news that our son John was actually Jack's and not mine. Everyone's face turned red. Martina got up from the table and left. Jack ran behind her to stop her. While chasing Martina, Jack gritted his teeth at Nova and said that she had been playing tricks on him all these years. He supported a destroyer if Martina broke up with him. I sat there frozen. Nova buried her head in her palms and cried. For a moment, we all thought she was making up all these to break up Jack and Martina's wedding. My mother berated Nova for lying this far to distance Martina. Nova then spoke up and narrated everything. She admitted to having a brief affair with Jack. While her intention was purely genuine to help him, she eventually got attracted to him. Jack tried to draw the boundary initially, but he too fell for her. I immediately connected all the open dots I had in my mind. Years ago, I asked her if that gift was meant to be used by them. She nodded, saying that she had ordered it to spice up the things between them, and it was during those times she conceived. She said that she fell in love with Jack and wanted to live with him, so she had planned for that pregnancy. I'm not sure if one can actually do this or if she was plain lucky. She thought Jack would marry her if she got pregnant with his child. When she confronted Jack, he denied taking any responsibility for the child. He made it clear that even if she exposed the truth to everyone and managed to get child support from him, he would never love her or the child. Nova helplessly decided to work on her marriage so that she and the child could at least have a family. Really, how can anyone be so brutal and mean? Until that moment, I thought I was the one who had taken the most calculated and logical decision in life. Looks like the switch had surpassed me. I stormed out of the house and raced my car back home. I bolted the door from the inside. She came right after me. I was already searching for an attorney. As soon as she entered the house, I threw the keyboard on the dining table, breaking the plates and flower vases. Sick, I know. I raced into my room, and before she could follow me inside, I slammed the door on her face. The toddler was at my parents' house. He'd fallen asleep before dinner. I think she had meticulously planned to keep him safe with the grandparents. I have a very faint memory of what happened in the next few days. I mostly drank and passed out while she pleaded with me for forgiveness at every side of mine. On the other hand, Jack kept denying being John's father. My parents asked us to get the DNA test done so that we could come to a conclusion. Jack, however, left the city to plead with his girlfriend who had taken the first flight home that night. He refused to take any tests. Finally, I had to take the test because Jack denied it so vehemently and I wanted to clear the air. The results are yet to come, but I'm silently hoping that the child is mine, despite knowing that Nova cheated on me. I want the child to be mine, he's my most precious and I don't want to lose him. My parents have insisted on keeping John with them until the issue is resolved, whether he is mine or Jack's. They are grandparents and concerned about his well-being. I've read hundreds of articles on DNA tests, which is overwhelming. Anyone with first-hand experience kindly helped me understand the concept. Whoa, revealed the truth in front of everyone. That's definitely not something you're expecting to hear over a family meal. I'm sure she was doing that so that Martina would actually leave Jack. She probably thought if she couldn't be with him, no one could. I'm sorry this was all revealed to you like this, Op. What an absolute slap in the face, and to know that the only reason why she wanted you back to work on your marriage was that she knew she was pregnant. I'm sorry. Do you think Jack would ever try to take custody of John even after you've raised him, seeing as he's the biological father? My heart breaks for you, Op. Update 3. Hi all, thanks to one of the users for helping me understand the DNA reports. While waiting for the report, I received the divorce papers and threw them in Nova's face. I told her to sign the documents and leave the house. She resisted the divorce but didn't reveal her terms. She kept asking for a second chance. Finally, when the report came, it was negative. It meant that John and I shared less than the required percentage of DNA to be claimed as a father. However, there were high chances of us being relatives, which indicated Jack to be his father. I was shattered. I locked myself in the room for days. I couldn't see that child who was my life. I hated him then. I hated myself for being spiteful to an innocent soul. When the anger subsided, I decided to avenge. I claimed custody of the child and forced Nova to sign the papers uncontested. I played the same logical game as she played. I told her she could not claim any child support for me since I wasn't the father and his real father had abandoned him. I told her Jack would not think twice before leaving the country to escape child support. She had to let me have him if she wanted a better future for our son. She was jobless. She couldn't afford to raise him alone. She eventually gave up and signed the papers. I know I sound evil, or maybe I'm the a-hole, but I don't care anymore. I love that child despite knowing that he's not mine, and I hate that woman. I can go to any lengths to hurt her. I'm sure that she doesn't love the child because she had planned the child only to trap Jack. Such a delusional woman. I think it's been roughly 3 months since the truth has come out. I don't know where Jack is or whether he was able to convince Martina, but I'm pretty sure he's not coming back soon. Nova was with her parents the last time I heard about her. I don't care if she's dead or alive. The divorce is yet to be settled, but I've enrolled in therapy and have cut off my drinking habits because I realized that I've taken up a huge responsibility of raising a child. I don't want to compromise on that. Wish me luck. I'll update you if anything develops. What a wild ride, Op. I'm so sorry. Despite it all, it's nice to know that John has you for a father that actually wants to be around and worships the ground he walks on. Taking responsibility for your drinking habits is huge, especially when you have a child to take care of. Therapy is a wise choice. After all you've been through, you're making incredibly responsible decisions for you and your small family. Wishing you all the best moving forward, Op. Thank you for joining us today on Sorry What. Like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. We'd hate for you to miss it. See you next time.